back everyone, Mariah here. Today's video, I'm going to be giving a 4-month review on Blockfi. I'm going to be telling you guys when I got into Blockfi, how much I've put into Blockfi over time, how much I've taken out over time. I'm going to be giving you the breakdown of exactly how much money I have made since being a user of Blockfi. I'm also going to be going over exactly how Blockfi makes their money. So I recently listened to an interview. The interview was actually done back in February with one of the team members of Blockfi, and he went into detail basically explaining exactly the process of how Blockfi makes money, and so I have been able to better understand it, and I'm going to be discussing that with you guys today and also talking about my strategy going forward. I'm going to be revealing what number I am on the list when it comes to getting that credit card. So if anyone wants an update from yesterday, I have no idea if the lizard escaped my house. So I literally have one foot on a garbage can right now and the other one tucked under my leg because I don't want the lizard on me. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of what's going on. So I got this email from Blockfi, came in I think yesterday, and basically they're just going over like all of the updates of what's going on. And so if you're part of Blockfi, you've gotten this email basically, and they're talking about how you can now get 10% as a special offer between now and July 31st. So you're going to be earning an extra 1.4% on stable coins, but you don't get paid that until you don't get that additional 1.4% until I believe mid-August. So that's something to take into consideration. But it is a good time to have stable coins on the Blockfi platform. Obviously, we know about their interest changes that are going into effect starting today, May 1st. So this is the thing that a lot of people are asking about. So I have been seeing some people in the comments, and this is like a big question for people. So basically, people think that you earn 5% on the first 0.5, and then anything above that, you're earning 2% on. I don't think that's the case, okay? If you have 0.6, I believe that you're earning at 2%. So basically, let's see, less than 0.05 to 20. So yeah, basically it's saying, so yeah, less than 0.5 to 20, you're earning 2%. I am pretty sure that if you are not earning 5% on the first 0.5 if you're holding more than 0.5. I could be completely wrong. At first, that's what I thought it was. Like, for example, on Celsius, you earn, 6.2 on the first 2, and then like 3 point something on anything above that. I don't think that's the case with Blockfi. So that's like my take on it. I had less than 1 Bitcoin, so you can see here last month, so I'm not able to take the actual calculation because I earned a complete 6% APY on my 1 Bitcoin that I had in Blockfi last month. So this email also basically goes over new members to the Blockfi team, and there are 2 interviews that you can listen to. Basically, if you just like type in On the Brink and then Renee, so this is from a February interview where he goes in detail over how Blockfi makes money and how that whole process works. He talks about the risks involved and all of that. And then there's also a second interview that was done with another Blockfi member, Zach Prince, and they're like 30 minutes, so they're, you could get through them pretty quickly. Also On the Brink, and so if you just type that in on your, however you listen to podcasts, and you can listen to those 2. And I haven't been able to listen to this one with Zach, but I listened to the previous one with Renee, and I really enjoyed it, and it brought a lot of clarity. I'm going to be kind of going over exactly what Renee said in that podcast. And then also to Blockfi announcing here a partnership with Arcane. And so what Arcane basically does is they do a lot of research when it comes to like funds, where funds are in the crypto space, like basically like user activity from like probably retail side and institutional side. So Blockfi and Arcane Research will jointly produce bi-weekly reports tracking institutional investments and related developments in digital assets. Each report, available exclusively to Blockfi clients, will include general market updates, research, and commentary on digital asset prices, trading volumes, investment trends, shifting sentiment, and valuation. So that's definitely valuable there. They give you a reminder, make sure to set up 2-factor authentication on your Blockfi account to maximize your security. And then basically also they talk a little bit here about if you are a business and how you can use Blockfi to grow your business. And then also too, they rebuilt their app, which is going to be coming out soon. So make sure you have your app updated so that you can have access to the app as soon as all of the updates become available. So you can see here that I have a pretty good chunk in my Blockfi account. I have approximately $293,000. And you could also see here that this is the total collateral that I have up right now, $196,000. And you can see that I took out a loan here. I took out a loan for $61,000. I made my first payment was about $483, and basically I put it on automatic withdrawal from my bank account. There really wasn't an option to pay for the loan through cryptocurrency, unlike Nexo. So that was kind of like, something that I really wasn't super excited about because I wanted to use crypto to pay for my loan, but instead I just set up automatic withdrawal from my bank. You can see here that I have been paid $4,091 of interest since I opened up my Blockfi account. You can see here that I made my first transaction on Blockfi on January 19th, and I put in 0.1 of a Bitcoin, and that was, just to kind of test the water, see how it goes, make sure the address works correctly. I just always take a little bit of a nibble, and then I continuously add. You can see here on January 26th, I added 50 Ethereum. Ethereum had basically one of the best rates on Blockfi at the time, so that's why I went really heavy on Ethereum initially. And then you could also see here that I made a pretty decent trade. I took 2 Ethereum here and traded it for 51 Bitcoin. And so let me do a quick calculation right here to see exactly. Let's see. So my first transaction was 51.46 Ethereum. Times that by, it's currently at about 2850. And then you could see here, divide by 2 because I used 2 Bitcoin. So technically, look how much I have gained of Bitcoin. So that would be I would have basically only have been break even with that trade if Bitcoin was trading right now at $73,000. So that was a really strong trade, a long-term trade that I've made. Eventually, I would like to take that Ethereum and probably sometime towards the end of the bull market, trade it back into Bitcoin, or that's going to be one approach. I'm going to take a portion of it, trade it back into Bitcoin because I always want to stack Satoshis. My second approach is selling some, holding it in USDC, and then earning interest on these platforms as well. You can see here I got my first interest payment at the end of January. So I earned 0.04 of Ethereum. So basically they pay you the last day of the month, which means that your interest isn't compounding daily like Nexo. It's technically compounding more at a monthly rate. So with my Ethereum, I ended up buying with my Bitcoin, I started buying more Ethereum, which turned out to be a really good trade. You can see here that I have withdrawn, I did just a very small amount, 2.65 of Ethereum on March 19th. You can see here that I put up 68.59 of Ethereum as collateral to take out that $61,000 loan. Got another interest payment. So they break it down, obviously, some Ethereum. And then at that point, I had Bitcoin as well. Then I withdrew. Once they changed their rates for April, I withdrew 2.04 Bitcoin, and I sent that over to Celsius. This referral bonus. Oh, a couple referral bonuses. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for using my link to sign up. So if you want to support this channel, that is one way you can do it, by using my links down below. There's 2 separate links. There's one for the Blockfi credit card, and there's one for Blockfi itself. So those are 2 different links that you can actually use to support my channel. I think Blockfi gives you 1 free withdrawal every month. So you can see here that I had basically, I think I had withdrawn on April 2nd. So then when I withdrew again with Ethereum on April 29th, it was still within the same month. So I had to pay 0.02 of Ethereum. And then you can see this is my payment that I just received yesterday. I earned $4.83 in USDC. I earned a nice little chunk of Bitcoin here, which is just under $300. And I earned a nice little chunk of Ethereum here, which, what would that be valued at? About $280, right? 10% would be about $280. So let me go ahead and just actually double check here, so I'm making sure that I'm giving you guys correct numbers here. So 0.0049 0.95 times the price of Bitcoin. It's in this $58,000 range. So 287 plus 280 plus, let's say, $5 just around. So $572 for the month on BlockFi. And for that, I am incredibly grateful. Thank you, BlockFi, for helping me earn passive income. I really do appreciate it. And I want everyone to experience the same thing. Like, imagine if you could just get to the point where you're just living off of the interest from your cryptocurrency. Like, how amazing is that? So what did I do with my loan? I went out and I bought more cryptocurrency. So that's what I do. I take out loans. I use my Bitcoin as collateral to go buy more Bitcoin. So, at this point, I do have about $400,000 in loans that I've taken out with my Bitcoin and other cryptos as collateral. And so I'm starting to put a game plan together to basically slowly pay that down over time. I don't want to be holding on to that through the bear market. My goal is to pay that off before. Thanks to you guys who have been incredible when it comes to using my BlockFi link to do the credit card. I am 39 on the list, okay? 39. This is like insane. So if you want to help me, like if I get to number 1, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my mind. And it's like the credit card's cool, but like being at the top of the list is kind of cooler. I'm not going to lie. So it's just become like an ego competitive thing for me. And there's like no one that I'm even competing against because I don't even know anyone who is like making YouTube videos telling people every time to sign up for the BlockFi credit card. So at this point, I'm just competing against myself. So just so you guys know, if you're interested in the borrowing process when it comes to BlockFi, for example, when I take out a loan on Nexo, and if I'm getting USDC, it's there in like 5-10 minutes. If you take out a loan with BlockFi, it's going to take a little bit longer. It's going to take about a day and a half. And they have a calculator on here. So basically, you could put your collateral type, like let's say that I'm going to do Bitcoin and my desired amount. Also, the minimum is $10,000. So, Nexo, you could do smaller amounts. I want to say the minimum is 500. The difference as well when it comes to BlockFi versus Nexo is that with Nexo, they charge me interest daily, and I only am basically getting charged the interest, which is compounding, but I don't have to pay that back. They don't give you like a deadline of when you have to pay it back. If you have enough crypto in your account as collateral, then you're able just to sit on that loan, basically. I don't really want to sit on the loan for that long. That is an option. When it comes to BlockFi, what happens is for 1 year, you are charged the interest every single month. And then at the very end, you owe the full amount that you borrowed. So that's kind of the difference there. You could see here that basically, if I wanted to get the loan down to 4.5%, I would need collateral of 0.89 Bitcoin. This is my monthly payment. Then I obviously would owe the $10,000 at the end. You can do 35% or 50% loan to value ratio. If I did 50% loan to value ratio, I'd be looking at nearly a double interest rate of 9.75%. So you can kind of mess around with that and see what happens. And see if it's something that works for you. So right here, and you can see this is kind of like a snapshot of everything. You can see how much I have in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDC. I recently sold one Ethereum. Clearly not at the right time because I've gained $4 in interest in USDC, and Ethereum has gone up like $500 since then. But you know what? You guys, I'm trying to get better at taking profit. I've never been good at taking profit. I just want to be 100% all in all the time. But that's not always a good approach. So I am practicing taking some off the table. This amount right here, what I believe is basically the amount that I've earned this month so far, but then I'm not going to actually get that amount till the end of the month. And you can do things in here like set up repeat trades, and then these are basically the selections of coins that you can put in here. Like right now, USDC, and the stable coins, you're going to get 10%, Chainlink 4.5%, Litecoin 5.5%. So another thing to take into consideration is that you can trade within the BlockFi platform, but let me show you something here. So for example, let's say I want to sell Bitcoin, I want to sell half a Bitcoin, and I want USDC. You can see here that they have the price of Bitcoin at $56,758. Let's go take a look at Coinbase Pro and see what they have Bitcoin at. $56,844. Okay, so 844, and then BlockFi was 753. So at this exact time, the spread in between Coinbase and BlockFi isn't very big. So selling on Blockfi, they don't charge fees, but I've seen as much as a $500 spread. So the timing just varies. There's, the whole arbitrage aspect to it. And also, like, if the market is really volatile, then that is something to take into consideration. So before you sell within Blockfi, I highly recommend looking at Coinbase and seeing what their rates are and selling on Coinbase Pro, because you're going to get much lower fees on Coinbase Pro versus Coinbase. Never buy or sell on Coinbase. Always use Coinbase Pro, you guys. It'll save you a ton of money, a ton in fees, and you'll have more Bitcoin at the end of the day. So like I said, if I was to sell right now, the spread is like reasonable. It probably wouldn't be worth it like right now to send this over to Coinbase and then try to sell. I could, sell right here and it would make sense at this time. But like I said, it always changes, so really keep an eye on that. So when it came to the podcast, I took some notes here just so I can kind of summarize it for you so that you can better understand if you don't have time to go listen to the podcast. So basically, what Renee said first was that, they store Bitcoin. They store Bitcoin. They have Bitcoin on reserve so that if people want to withdraw, they can. Every time I've withdrawn on Blockfi, I have to go through the entire verification. I have to take a picture of the front and back side of my ID. I have to put my face in front of the camera, turn it to the left, turn it to the right. And so it's like super secure and it takes a while. So the instant ability to withdraw on Nexo isn't quite there. So another way they make money is allowing people to trade on their platform. So like I said, even though they say zero fees, the spread was like $500 when I looked yesterday. So think about it, if they have an arbitrage plan underneath in place, then they're making a ton in fees, but then changing the price. For example, Robinhood, they say no fees, but you're technically paying more when you're buying at the market. So that's something to keep in mind. And then obviously people can borrow against their Bitcoin, so they're making money that way. I would be really curious to know exactly what the amount is of exactly how much they hold and how much people have out in loans. And then obviously the credit card is something that's coming as well that they will make money from, because they're charging a $200 annual fee, which I'm not super excited about. I think they should consider lowering that significantly or taking it away completely, the whole fee. So this is their approach of how the meat and the potatoes of how Blockfi makes money. So they lend out their Bitcoin to institutions that basically use arbitrage trading when it comes to Bitcoin. So these are considered proprietary trading firms. So basically what happens is these companies need a lot of capital, because if they're doing arbitrage trading between two different exchanges, they're going to need that asset on both. Okay, so it's a very capital heavy situation, and that's why they borrow money from Blockfi. So there's no clearing cycle when it comes to Bitcoin as well, and they need the Bitcoin on both exchanges, so that's a whole capital heavy thing. So ultimately they're like a liquidity provider, or at least that's part of it. So there's also a derivative part and basis trading when it comes to selling futures at a higher price. This is kind of just the notes of it. If you want to know more details and get the whole gist of it, I highly recommend going and watching or listening to that podcast. So when it came to stable coins, he basically mentioned how it's really hard right now for crypto companies to have legit relationships when it comes to traditional banks, right? So that's how the whole stablecoin thing came about, is because people it was hard to have USD as an option on exchanges. So for a long time, Kraken, you couldn't connect your bank account. You had to use Tether. So that's kind of how the whole stablecoin thing came about, because banks not wanting to have relationships with cryptocurrency companies. So overall, it is like a bank model, right? So Blockfi has to do their due diligence when it comes to who are they going to select to loan their money to. So there is a factor. But then he mentioned it like this, and listen, we're more likely, instead of, lending 1,000 Bitcoin to Gemini, we're more likely to use a company he said Virtue, which I'm not familiar with Virtue, but what he basically said is when it comes to Virtue, cryptocurrency trading, arbitrage trading is such a small portion of their overall business, so they feel more confident, because Virtue is also a publicly traded company, so they have access to their financials, and there's that additional amount of accountability there. And then when it comes to their arbitrage crypto trading, it's such a small percentage of their overall revenue that they feel confident that Virtue would be able to cover any losses if something was to happen. And also when you're working with a company like that, they probably use a lot of algorithms, and they have a lot more accountability within the system to make sure that they aren't losing large amounts of money, right? So different than you're going like a big bank or something, or a big trading firm that has like very specific things in place that are like very, algorithm based. So then that adds a whole completely different level of protection. So the biggest risk is like if they're choosing companies to lend the Bitcoin to, they don't have a lot of transparency. And so there is a risk involved, but it sounds like BlockFi obviously takes a ton of measures when it comes to properly selecting these companies that they feel most confident in. So that is my review, my 4-month review on BlockFi. I've averaged $1,000 a month. That's something to be happy for, because you know what? That pays my rent, my utilities, and a little bit more, and a little bit of food. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to support my channel, please check out the links below. As always, go out there and create a portfolio that you love, and have an amazing weekend.